There comes a time in every life when the pain of being used cuts deeper than the wound of betrayal. You know the feeling. The moment you realize that every smile was calculated, every word was designed, and every gesture was meant to bend you into someone else's will. Manipulation is the quiet theft of your freedom, the invisible chain placed around your spirit without you even noticing. Too many live as puppets, dancing on strings, pulled by hands that hide in the shadow. But today I tell you this, you were not born to be controlled, you were born to command. The world is filled with those who prey on weakness, who thrive on your ignorance of their methods. Yet strength comes not from brute force, but from clarity, awareness, and the courage to look into the eyes of deceit and see it for what it is. If you learn the laws of power, if you master the art of the mind, no one will ever twist you again. Let this be the moment you draw the line. No more chains, no more lies, no more hidden strings. From this moment forward, you rise, untouchable. When you begin to understand the mechanics of manipulation, you start to see the invisible strings that have always been there, pulling at your choices, shaping your emotions, and guiding you down paths you never chose for yourself. Most people walk through life unaware that every compliment can be a hook, every silence can be a trap, and every display of weakness from another can be a deliberate play to exploit your kindness. The tragedy is that manipulation does not always wear the face of an enemy. It often comes from those closest to you, those who smile warmly, those who speak softly, those who appear to care. That is why the first act of liberation is the act of awareness, the courage to peel back the mask and see the motives underneath. Ask yourself not what is being said, but why it is being said. Behind every action lies intention, and if you fail to question intention, you surrender your will without even realizing it. The manipulators of this world thrive on blind trust. They depend on your eagerness to believe, to assume that words and gestures are genuine reflections of the heart. They know that by appealing to your emotions, they can bypass your reason, and once reason is silenced, you are theirs to command. Think of how easily flattery works, how quickly it disarms, how it makes you lower your guard without a second thought. Manipulation is never about truth. It is about leverage. The one who controls perception controls reality, and if you allow someone to dictate how you see them, how you see yourself, and how you see the world, you have already given away your power. Recognition demands vigilance. You must learn to hear the unsaid, to read the silence, to sense the weight of motives hidden behind words that seem harmless. Only then can you step out of the web before it tightens around you. Consider how often manipulation comes disguised as guilt. They will remind you of what they have done for you, not to celebrate generosity, but to bind you with invisible debt. They will play the victim not because they are weak, but because they know your empathy is strong. Every sigh, every tear, every carefully chosen word of disappointment is a weapon crafted to weaken your resolve. If you cannot see this game for what it is, you will spend your life apologizing for crimes you never committed and paying back debts that were never owed. To recognize these hidden strings, you must detach your heart long enough to analyze. This does not mean abandoning compassion, but it means refusing to let compassion blind you. You must learn to observe human behavior as though you are outside of it, studying patterns, detecting inconsistencies, noting when actions contradict words. That detached clarity is the key that severs the strings. The strings are also pulled through fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of loss. Manipulators know that human beings crave belonging and dread isolation, so they use the threat of withdrawal to control you. They imply that love, respect, or acceptance will vanish if you do not bend to their will. This is the cruelest form of slavery because it makes you police yourself, convincing you that obedience is the only way to maintain connection. To recognize this trick, you must look at the structure of the relationship. Ask yourself, is my loyalty demanded or is it earned? Am I being asked to conform out of love or coerced out of fear? The moment you identify fear as the driving force behind your compliance, you strip the manipulator of their strongest weapon. Fear loses its grip when you confront it with truth, and truth reveals that no bond built on manipulation is worth keeping. And perhaps the most subtle string of all is the one tied to your own desire for validation. Manipulators feed on this hunger because they know you crave acknowledgement, approval, and recognition. They will give it sparingly, like drops of water in a desert. until you are desperate enough to do anything for more. This is how you become addicted to their praise, enslaved to their opinion, waiting for their nod before you believe in yourself. To recognize this is to realize that as long as your worth is in another's hands, you will forever be at their mercy. The only way to cut this string is to create within yourself a foundation so strong that no external approval can shake it. Awareness is not paranoia, it is freedom. The moment you begin to see the patterns, you step out of the fog and into clarity. And once you see the strings, they can no longer control you. Independence is not simply the ability to stand alone. It is the art of ensuring that no one holds dominion over your choices, your emotions, or your destiny. To build such armor requires more than stubborn will. It demands discipline, awareness, and the courage to detach from the illusions that bind most people. Too many imagine independence as physical separation, yet one can be surrounded by people and still remain untouchable if their spirit is fortified. Likewise, one can live in solitude and still be enslaved by invisible chains of approval, fear, and desire. The armor of independence begins within the mind. It is forged when you stop allowing the expectations of others to dictate your sense of worth, when you stop chasing their acceptance as though it were the air you breathe. You must come to see yourself as complete, without their validation, for the one who needs nothing cannot be controlled by promises or threats. Independence is not isolation, it is power. The power to walk your own path, without trembling at the thought of being unloved or abandoned. To build this armor, you must first master the discipline of self-reliance. Do not mistake this for arrogance or a refusal to accept help. It is rather the refusal to be dependent on it. When you train yourself to provide what you need, whether emotionally, mentally, or materially, you remove the hooks that others may use to reel you in. Dependence is a chain, and every time you rely on someone for validation, survival, or direction, you give them the key to your freedom. The manipulator thrives on your inability to stand without their support, for the more you lean on them, the easier it is for them to bend you. To cut this weakness, build skills, knowledge, and resilience that make you strong in your own right. Cultivate an inner voice so clear and commanding that you no longer need the echo of others to confirm your path. When you can stand without begging for assistance, you will find that those who once sought to control you lose their grip entirely. The armor of independence is also woven from emotional discipline. The easiest person to control is the one whose feelings can be stirred like a storm at sea. The manipulator pushes your buttons, ignites your anger, fuels your guilt, or fans your desires until you are no longer thinking, only reacting. To free yourself from this trap, you must harden your emotional core, not by killing your feelings, but by mastering them. Practice restraint when provoked, detachment when flattered, silence when pressured. Every time you deny a manipulator the reaction they seek, you strengthen the metal of your armor. They thrive on your impulsive responses, so when you remain unmoved, their power crumbles. Independence means that your state of mind is yours alone, untouchable by outside hands. It means that no matter how others try to push or pull, you remain steady, unshaken, immune to their tactics. This inner stillness is not weakness. It is the most dangerous strength of all, for it renders their strings useless. Another vital layer of independence is the ability to define your own values. Manipulators will always try to impose their vision of right and wrong upon you, making you feel guilty for straying from their script. If you have no clear principles of your own, you will bend beneath this pressure, shaping your actions according to their standards. But when you build a code rooted in your own conviction, no accusation can penetrate your armor. You must decide for yourself what you stand for, what you refuse, and what you will never compromise. Once your values are solid, attempts to shame you become powerless. You are not swayed by their judgments because you no longer measure yourself by their scale. This is why independence requires deep reflection, for a mind that never examines its own foundations is a mind easily rewritten by others. The manipulator thrives in the void of uncertainty, but when your principles are carved into stone, no amount of persuasion or deceit can erase them. Finally, the true armor of independence is completed by the willingness to walk away. Nothing binds you tighter than the belief that you cannot survive without a particular person, group, or circumstance. Manipulators exploit this fear, convincing you that losing them is the end of your world. But the strongest individuals are those who can leave behind what no longer serves them, without hesitation. To walk away is to declare that your freedom is worth more than any temporary comfort, that your dignity cannot be bought by companionship, gifts, or false promises. When you cultivate the courage to detach from what seeks to control you, you achieve a power few ever reach. You become unshakable, because the one who can walk away holds the ultimate advantage. They cannot be held hostage by fear, guilt, or desire. The armor of independence is not built overnight. But each act of self-reliance, each moment of restraint, each value upheld, and each chain broken adds to its strength until you are untouchable, a fortress in a world of puppets. Perception is the battlefield where power is won or lost. The way people see you shapes how they treat you, how they respond to you, and ultimately, how much influence you command over them. To understand this truth is to realize that reality itself is secondary to perception. It does not matter what you are in secret. It matters what they believe you are. Manipulators know this well. They construct illusions, weaving images of weakness or virtue to bend your responses. But if you seize control of perception, you become the one who dictates the story, the one who writes the script that others follow. This is not about deceit for its own sake. It is about strategy. If people believe you are strong, they hesitate before testing you. If they believe you are wise, they listen before dismissing you. If they believe you cannot be fooled, they stop trying to play their games. The power of perception is the power of control, and to master it is to ensure that no one can easily manipulate you again. Turning perception into power begins with mastering how you present yourself. Every detail communicates something. The steadiness of your eyes, the tone of your voice, the way you carry your silence. People are constantly searching for cues, for signs of weakness, for evidence of strength, and most never realize how quickly they reveal themselves. If you allow nervousness, hesitation, or eagerness to show, you invite manipulation, for others see you as pliable. But if you present calmness even in chaos, if you speak with clarity even in doubt, you create an image that commands respect. The armor of perception is built on consistency. When your words and actions align without contradiction, you become difficult to read, and what cannot be read cannot be easily controlled. You must think of yourself as an actor upon a stage, not because life is false, but because influence is theater. To win, you must decide the role you will play, and ensure it leaves no opening for exploitation. Yet perception is not only about what others see, it is about what you choose to see in them. Manipulators thrive because they distort your vision, making you believe they are harmless, weak, or sincere. To reclaim your power, you must sharpen your ability to see beyond appearances. Do not accept words at face value. Study patterns. Look for the cracks where actions betray intentions. Perception is a double-edged weapon. The way you are perceived gives you influence, and the way you perceive others gives you protection. Train yourself to read the subtle signs, the delay in their response, the sudden shift in tone, the contradiction between their claims and their behavior. When you see clearly, you disarm them. Their greatest weapon is your blindness, and when you open your eyes, their strings fall away. Perception gives you the advantage of foresight, the ability to anticipate their moves before they make them. The manipulation of perception also means controlling the narrative others tell about you. Rumors, labels, and judgments are tools used to weaken your position in the minds of others. If you allow lies to spread unchecked, perception turns against you and power slips away. But if you learn to shape the story, to project an image so strong that falsehoods cannot survive beside it, you turn their weapon into your shield. This does not mean wasting time fighting every whisper. It means building a reputation so unshakable that no whisper matters. Protect your image by being deliberate in your actions, selective in your words, and guarded in your vulnerabilities. Let people know only what strengthens your position. The rest is yours to keep hidden. Secrecy is power. For what they do not know, they cannot use. Perception must always be managed with precision, for once you lose control of how others see you, you give them the ability to define you on their terms. Ultimately, turning perception into power is about becoming untouchable in both directions. On one hand, you project strength, clarity, and authority so that others hesitate to attempt control. On the other, you sharpen your vision to see through every illusion they try to cast upon you. This dual mastery makes you both the actor and the observer, both the creator of images and the destroyer of deception. You stand above the games because you understand them better than those who play them. The world bows not to truth but to the perception of truth, and those who recognize this rule, when you learn to control how you are seen while seeing others as they truly are, you ascend to a place where manipulation cannot reach you. You are no longer the puppet, no longer the victim of unseen strings. You are the one holding the stage, commanding the play, shaping the world around you with the force of perception itself. All that has been spoken leads to one undeniable truth. The chains of manipulation fall only when you awaken to their existence, build a fortress within yourself, and learn to shape the battlefield of perception. The world is filled with those who seek to twist your emotions, bend your choices, and shape your reality for their gain. They hide behind masks of kindness, weave illusions of guilt, and threaten you with fear of rejection or loss. Yet once you recognize these strings, their power dissolves, for nothing can enslave the one who sees clearly. Awareness is the first blade that cuts through deceit. But awareness alone is not enough. You must forge the armor of independence, strengthening your spirit until it no longer trembles before threats or hungers for validation. True independence is not found in isolation, but in the ability to remain untouched even when surrounded by voices demanding obedience. When your worth is rooted in yourself, no approval can buy you, no rejection can break you, and no false loyalty can enslave you. It is this strength that separates the free from the bound, the untouchable from the controlled. Independence is the shield that protects your freedom. And when you master perception, you hold the sword of influence. For the world bends not to raw truth, but to the appearance of it. If you control how others see you, you dictate how they respond. If you sharpen your vision to see them as they are, their tricks fail before they begin. To walk this path is to rise above the games of manipulation, becoming both the architect of your own image and the observer of others' illusions. The prophet says, God's walls are of their own power. Chapter 10, Perception, gives you the advantage, ensuring that no hidden hand can pull your strings again. Together, these truths form a code of strength. See the strings, build your armor, command the stage, walk into the world not as prey but as power itself. Let no one steal your freedom, let no one dictate your path, and let no one write your story but you. When you live by these principles, you will never again bow to unseen masters. You will rise as a fortress, a mind unbroken, a will unbent, a soul unchained. Thank you for listening. May strength guide your steps, may clarity guard your heart, and may freedom always be yours. God bless you.